name's Liz and I work for a service called the Youth Justice Service. We work with children and young people who are involved in or are at risk of getting involved in antisocial or offending behaviour. We work with all kinds of young people, so with boys and girls, and that can be aged from about 9 to up to 18. We work with kids on lots of different levels, so we might work with them in schools. The youngest children that I've worked with have been about 8 or 9 years old, and that has been sometimes when they've taken a weapon into school, and we've done some education work to try and support them, making better choices as they go forward into the future. Hello everybody. We've been working together for about 12 months now. And we did a survey all over Rochdale in all the schools. And what's happened since, Emily?
All 5 of us, we got randomly picked to do a survey, and then now, like 12 months in, now we're coming together to make like a documentary of educating young people. The project started with a survey, and one of the questions was, would you tell someone if you knew that one of your friends or classmates had been involved with a knife or a weapon, or whether they had a weapon on them? I personally said that I would, because at the end of the day, you'd rather have someone mad at you than them taking people's lives or people losing their lives over like a silly accident.
What kinds of things have we been talking about?
We've been talking about young people carrying knives, and then like how nowadays, how it's like normalised.
Okay, so we think knives are normalised in our communities. What's a stereotypical person who carries a knife?
Like gang members, like people that wear like ballies on when they're
balaclavas.
Walking, yeah, when they're walking around.
Masks.
My name is Matthew Norford. I'm the CEO of One Message, which is a mentoring service that I set up in 2016 to help young people stay away from crime, knife crime, and make better decisions to have a healthier life. I was 12 when I started getting into crime, and it started off as a bit of antisocial behaviour, you know, not thinking that my behaviour outside the shop with all my friends are causing distress to anybody. Outside people's houses, swearing, smashing windows, smoking cigarettes, smoking a bit of weed. And then by the time I was 13, I started selling drugs. Reasons were, I'm gonna say, my upbringing, single parent mum, who really didn't know how to show love because she wasn't showing any love, brought up having no dad, no role model, no positive role model. My brother, Gary, who I loved more than life itself, he was my best friend. He was a gangster, so having someone to look up to was my older brother. That's what I spent all my time with. When you've got no love at home, it feels like I was taking the problems from home and the streets into school. There was pressure from myself to fit in. Like when you're going from that transition from primary school to high school with the older lads, I wanted to impress them. And my life started declining very quickly because of the choices I was making.
Well, consequences to young people being involved in knife crime can be really wide-ranging depending on what's happened. Young people can get excluded from school if they bring a weapon into school. They may get involved with the police may make referrals to the Youth Justice Service, or potentially they can be arrested, they can be taken to court, and at the most serious end, young people can go to prison for getting involved in knife crime.
So at what age did you become involved in offending?
I started off young when I was around 10 years old, roughly, and it was for a shoplifting offence. And as I was growing up, like the offences started getting like a little bit more worse with the different crowds that I was hanging around with. And when I was 18, I actually got done for a knife crime, which was the last offence that I got done for. And I did spend like quite a long time in jail for.
So how did it go from shoplifting to being in prison? Like, how did it escalate?
It was the people who I was hanging around with, things that I started doing more as I was growing up. Maybe like you get opened up to more things as you go older, like say for instance drugs, and that might have a big impact on it. I wouldn't ever advise anyone to ever carry a knife or hang around with anyone who carries knives, because It can land you in unexpected situation. Like, if I could go back in time and give myself some advice, it would be to settle down in school and just work as hard as you can for the future. Go working to have a nice life in the future, innit? When you put the work in to have that life.
To every young person out there who's got a sibling that you love, if you've not got a sibling, you've got a best friend that you love. Can't live without him, you phone him every day. That was me and my brother Gary, we were like soulmates. From one incident, one moment of anger or madness, my brother ended up getting stabbed and died, and my other brother ended up getting stabbed twice and was in a coma. The ultimate price you pay in knife crime is death. That one moment of madness can turn a life upside down. When someone pulls a knife and someone gets stabbed, 90% that person's not going to walk away, and if they do, they've got life-changing circumstances and injuries.
What's your advice on knife crime and how to stop it?
Okay, well, I suppose in my job, my advice to any young person who was thinking about carrying a knife would be not to do it, because there are certain consequences that may come with that, lots of them. But if there was a young person who was thinking about carrying a knife, there's obviously some issues going on there, because young people will talk about lots of reasons why they might carry a knife. Can you think what any of those might be?
Safety. Protection.
Protection.
Or they're getting peer pressured by other people to do it. So say if someone older than them tells them to carry something for them, but then they think it's dangerous to carry it without any weapons with them.
Do you think a young person could do anything different before making that decision to carry a knife?
They could tell somebody.
Excellent. Actually, what statistics show is that young people who carry knives oftentimes end up hurt by their own weapon.
Yeah, they're the ones that get stabbed.
Yeah?
Advice I would give to a young person about knife crime would be, if you ever see one of your friends that have got a knife, you should tell someone. I would rather one of my friends be angry at me than let someone either get hurt or seriously injured.
At the start of this project, we took a survey and one of the questions were, would you snitch on your friend if they had a knife? Personally, I said no, because back then I thought all snitches get stitches and all that. But after 12 months of doing this, I would snitch on my friend, because you'd rather have someone mad at you for snitching rather than getting someone's life taken away.
The myth around snitches get stitches, that's what criminals made up. We know a young person at 10, 11, 12 is impressionable, and if you look up to us and we say snitches get stitches, you're going to be scared. But that's not the truth. There's nothing wrong with telling the truth that my friend's carrying a knife, or tell his mum, tell your parent. You know, if he's got a worker in his life, tell the worker. You are potentially saving that kid's life. There's no snitching, you are saving a life. Snitches don't get stitches. Snitches get rewards from the police, that's what they get. If you know someone's got a knife, tell the teacher, tell the police. You can do it anonymously.
Hi, I'm PC Ben Butterworth. I work at Rochdale Police Station, which is just located behind us. I work within the Prevention Hub, and my role is as a school engagement officer, whereby I spend a lot of time in high schools here, where I'm supporting young people who may be at risk of being vulnerable to such things like knife crime, criminality, or having difficulties at home or out here in the community.
How do you think the GMP is dealing with knife crime?
If it's identified to me by a school that a young person has come into the school premises and they've got, let's say for example, a knife in their bag, it's not just as clear cut as, oh, a young person is in possession of a knife, which is an offence in itself, but we do look at everything. So we'll unpick what's going on in their lifestyle, what's caused them to take a knife into a school premises, whether there's any concerns such as bullying, or they're having difficulties out in the community or with any other peers in the school community, and also doing assessments with them. That also involves me working in conjunction with the Youth Justice Service to see if there is any risks or whether that young person needs any support.
Around 62% of young people are concerned about knife crime, and what are the police going to do to quash these fears?
One contributing factor to increase those anxieties, what I have found, is social media. So through my work as a school engagement officer, when I do speak with young people in schools, they are saying that they're seeing knife crime on social media, they're seeing knife crime whether it's on TV or in pop culture, and for me it's just all about education, education, education.
Do you think it's difficult to report someone else carrying a knife?
Occasionally people find it really difficult to report that another person's carrying a knife or a weapon. If someone is carrying a knife and goes on to harm somebody or threaten somebody with it, that could decrease their life opportunities as well as close doors.
Fitting in because it looks cool on social media, the drill music. When you look at it, it's for what? There's no winners in that life. There's no winners. There's all losers. I'm pleading to the government. All I would ask for is more money for youth clubs. Youth clubs, kids can be kids. How do you expect a kid to be a kid if they're forced to be an adult?
Hi Tony, just before we begin we'd like to thank you for coming on to this meeting with us.
I'm really keen to hear what young people in Rochdale have got to say about knife crime, but of course I'm also happy to answer your questions.
In the past few days there have been local and national-wide news stories around knife crime. 62% of young people who took part in our survey said that they are worried about knife crime in Rochdale. What are the local government doing to quash those fears?
Well, that's a shockingly high number of young people who are concerned, I mean rightly concerned, but we've got to try to do better to make sure that people aren't afraid of knife crime. Some of the other things, of course, that we've got to look at are giving young people things genuinely constructive to do with the time. So we're taking those who might be tempted to carry knives either for bravado or for fear, to say actually that there are better ways of doing these things like youth activities.
If you had one message to show young people about knife crime, what would that message be?
I think the message I would want to give is that we've got to work together on this. That because knife crime is something that concerns young people, doesn't mean to say it shouldn't concern everybody else. And the bringing together everybody to say how do we challenge knife crime across Rochdale is really important. But of course, I've got a particular responsibility to work with you all, because in the end, if it is a question of putting this argument to the Home Secretary, putting it to central government, putting it to the local council, then I've got to be at least one of your voices doing that. So I'm really pleased that this initiative is taking place.
Thank you for coming to speak to us today, Tony.
I mean, look, I'm really delighted to have taken part in this. I mean, it's me to thank you for this initiative. I've got to learn from what comes out from this, and hopefully working together we can make things better. So big thank you to you all for taking part.
What life's like for me now, life is great. My business is growing every day, I'm successful. I'm a great dad to my kids. My life is so great. Why? Because I do the right thing now. I'm asking any young person who's listening to this, do the right thing. I just hope you take away that making the right choices is key for you.
What do you want from this end product?
What I hope to get is more people speaking up about how either they've been affected by knife crime or they speak to someone about their friend carrying a knife. During this, our attitudes have changed, so hopefully people watching our documentary can change their attitudes to knife crime too.
I commend and I respect any young person out there that helps get knives off the street. You are saving lives, because them knives are killing people. You have always got an option, whether it's tell a teacher, whether it's talk to the social worker, talk to your parents, there is always an option.